In this lesson, we're going to look at the main reason we do synthetic division, and that is to allow us to factorise polynomials that are bigger than the degree of 2. And in 2 National 5, we learned to factorise quadratics, which are only degree 2. In this section of higher maths, you'll be able to factorise polynomials with a degree of x cubed, x to the power 4, and so on. And you do that by using synthetic division. And this is how you do it. So we have to firstly show that x minus 4 is a factor of this. So essentially we're dividing this polynomial by x minus 4. When you divide this by this, you'll get the multiplier for this. It's called the quotient. So we'll find out what x minus 4 multiplies by to get this, and that allows us to factorise. So if x minus 4 is a factor, that means that x equals 4 is a root. So we have to evaluate f of 4. Also, if it's a factor, the remainder will be 0 because it will divide in exactly. Okay, so when we put 4 into this, you should get 0 popping out at the end. So 4 goes here as normal because 4 is the value we're going to evaluate. The coefficients go along the top, so we've got a 2, we've got a negative 9, a 5, a negative 3, and a negative 4. So there's your 2, your negative 9, your 5, your negative 3, and your negative 4. Now the same process applies here. Take your 2 down to the bottom and times it by the 4. And then you add together. So that's negative 1 multiplied by the 4, add together, multiplied by the 4, add together, multiplied by the 4, and you've pops out 0. So we can say quite confidently that f of 4 is equal to 0, and that means x minus 4 is a factor. So since that's equal to 0, x minus 4 is a factor of this. But what do you multiply x minus 4 by to get this? Well, the answer is in this part at the bottom called the quotient. This is the number value, this is the coefficient of the x value, this is the coefficient of the x squared value, and this is the coefficient of the x cubed. It goes in this order. That's your numbers, that's your coefficient of your x's, that's your x squared's coefficient, and that's your x cubed. So if you look at that down here, these translate. So there's your 1, that's your coefficient here, that's your coefficient here, and that's your coefficient here. So you multiply x minus 4 by all of this to get that, and that's us factorised. Another example here, show that x minus 5 is a root of this here, and hence fully factorise. So if x minus 5 is a root, then it should pop out as 0 at the end, just like before. So x minus 5 is a root, that means you put your x minus 5 here. You look at your coefficients, you've got a 2, a 7, a negative 9, and a 30. Drop your 2 down, same process, multiply by negative 5 to get negative 10, then add them. Negative 3, multiply by the negative 5 to get 15, add to get 6, multiply by negative 5 to get negative 30, add to get 0. So since x minus 5 is a root, then that means x plus 5 is a factor of this. How do you what you multiply this by? Well, again, you look along the bottom. So there's your number term, that's your coefficient of your x, and that's your coefficient of x squared. So x plus 5 multiplied by this here. Again, there's your 6, there's your minus 3, and there's your 2. Now at this point, you can factorise further. I haven't done it here, but you could factorise that further into double brackets, and we'll do that later on. So you could have x plus 5 multiplied by another bracket, multiplied by another bracket, and that would be it fully factorised.